it's at 2:30 to 3:20. Thought I will take sets and probably finish how much ever I can for dictionaries for let's say about 1 hour of class now, and then we'll try to do the exercises in the afternoon is what I thought. Is that okay with all of you? Guys?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, because it's basically almost 2.5 plus another 50 minutes or 3.5 hours of same class today. So I thought I'll take 1 hour now, probably till 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock, and then we'll continue the rest in the afternoon class. Is that okay? Okay. So we stopped with tuples yesterday. We'll move on to sets. Okay, I hope all of you can see my screen. Okay. When we're talking about lists and tuples, they are both ordered. The elements in both lists and tuples are ordered, but when it comes to set, it's another collection data type that is there in Python, and here the elements are unordered and they are unindexed. When it comes to lists and tuples, you are able to access every element based on index because every element is having a fixed position that is there. So when it comes to sets, the major difference is that it is unordered and unindexed. Oh, you don't have anything else for the day? Okay. Anyways, fine. We'll finish sets, how much ever possible of dictionaries because I have another class. So, however long, I'm expecting it about to be an hour or something. We'll finish that. The afternoon class, it's okay. If you don't have anything else, then whatever I finish in the next 1 hour, let's keep it till there and then continue it in the next class. Is that okay? Yes, no.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, we'll finish sets. We'll start off with dictionaries, how much ever possible, because I have other class also. I won't be able to finish the entire thing in one stretch. So we'll finish how much ever possible. Afternoon, okay. So you guys take the off. We'll continue it tomorrow. Okay, anyways. Sets are unordered and unindexed. We'll start off with functionalities from creation, accessing, addition, similar to how we did for lists and tuples. Okay, creating a set. So list was using square brackets, tuples was using rounded brackets. When we are using sets, we're going to be using the curly brackets. So creating a set is basically call it my set. Use curly brackets, and in here you can insert the elements that are So what is about sets is it's unordered and unindexed. So even if this is the set that I've generated, the order in which it's is going to print is not under our control. So it can print it in any order that is there. When it comes to lists and tuples, whichever order you're specifying your elements, that is the order it gets printed in, right? But with set, it can be printed in any order that is there. You won't be in control of the order in which your elements get printed. So let's begin my set. Uh, So it's printed in different order altogether. So it's a food, I mean like even though I give cricket, tennis, football, the order in which it gets printed is football, cricket and tennis, and this can vary at any point of time. So that is why set is called unordered and unindexed. So because you can't really control the order in which the elements appear, obviously you can't control, try to access elements based on their index numbers, right? So if you know a position, you can access them through their index number. When you don't know in which order or place the element is going to be at, there is no point trying to access those elements with index numbers. That is why sets are unordered. Because it is unordered, I cannot access the index numbers of it. That is why it's called unindexed also. So this is creating sets. Then we'll try accessing elements. How do I access elements here? There is no way you can access these elements when you're talking about sets. But only thing you can do is try to loop through a set, or try to check whether a particular element is present in that set or not. Trying to access them is not possible because you can't access them as there are no index numbers for it. Order is not in your control. So no index number. So you won't be able to access elements. But what you can do is try to loop through the list to check what is there, and also check whether a particular element is present or not in that set. So if I have to loop through a set, what do I have to do? Use the same for loop again. So for, let's say, X in my set, syntax. Printing football, cricket and tennis. So I'm able to loop through the list, and if I have to check whether a particular element is present or not in a particular set, I have to use the in keyword. So if I have to do that, that will be, we do this, right? So int. Let's say I want to check whether football is present in my set. So in is the keyword that you will be using, and from which set? My set. If the element is present, it will going to print the element that is there. So yeah, football is present in my set, so it's returning a value true. True is basically your Boolean values, true or false, right? So let's say if there is something else which is not present in my set. Badminton is not part of my set, so it's returning a value false. So I can't access elements directly from a set because there is no order to it, but I can definitely read through the set or check whether a particular element is present or not in that set. The third thing will come to. So creation is there, accessing you can't, but you can loop through or check whether an element is present or not in that particular set. Changing items in a list. Can you change items in a list? Sorry, set. So, same like tuple, sets are also unchangeable. You can't change any elements in the set. Like, unlike a list. List, you are allowed to change elements in that list. Tuples was unchangeable, not modifiable. So, the same way, sets are also, you can't change elements in a particular set. But what you can do is try to add elements into that set. You can't change them. See now, for example, if I have cricket and tennis, okay, so I have cricket, tennis and football. I can't change tennis to something badminton, but I can add a new element called badminton. So changing is not allowed with sets. Changing is not allowed with tuples, but changing is allowed with lists. So there are three different collection data types we've been seeing in the last 2 days. One was list, then was a tuple, then there is the set. So lists are basically ordered, changeable, modifiable. Tuples are ordered but unchangeable. Sets are unordered and unchangeable. This is the uh, gist of how all these three data types are. Okay, so since you can't change items, but you can add items to a particular set. Let's try adding them. Okay. To add items in a set, there are basically two methods that can let you do this. One method is called as the add method and the other is called as the update method. When there is only one element that you want to add to a particular set, you can use the add method. If you want to insert more than one element into your set, then you can go with the update method. So let's see how add method works. So if you're trying to add elements to your particular set, if there is only one element that I want to add. So let's say my set has this thing. So my set dot add. What is the element that you want to add? Let's say badminton. Then I will print my set. So badminton is added to the set. Again, order is not in our control, so it can insert it and add that element at any position into that set. Now, if I want to add more than one element to my set, I can use the update method. So let's say my set dot update. Inside that, you can actually have a list here of all the elements that you want to add. Let's say badminton, basketball, and so I have created a list which has three elements, and that I'm going to be inserting into my set. So now let's print my set. Tennis, cricket, basketball, badminton, football, and swim. It's added three new elements into the existing set. You can't change items in a particular set, but you can add items to a set. If you're adding just one item into the set, you can go with the add function. If you're adding more than one element to the set, you should use an update function. Inside an update, you can give a list of all the items that you want to add. Um, is that clear?
Oh, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes. Tell me.
Ma'am, if we can add items to a set, doesn't it become mutable?
You can add items to a set, it will become, come again?
If we can add items to a set, doesn't it become mutable?
I didn't say sets are not immutable. You can modify it. I didn't say you can, I mean, you can't change the items that are already there to something else, but you can definitely add them. Tuples are immutable because there is nothing you can add to it. You can't change it. You can't remove anything. So that tuples are fixed. Sets you can remove items, you can add items, but you can't change existing items. List you can change, add everything.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. But okay. So next then there is similar length function wherein it gives you the length of all the tells you how many elements are there in the set. So you can use the length function, length of that. Len of my set here is 3. I'm splitting. Okay. How do I remove items from a set? Removing can actually be done in 3 methods that are there. Okay, you can use the remove method to remove it. There are actually 3 ways of doing it. The first method is basically using the remove method. There's another method called discard, and then there is a pop method. Let's do it with remove. It depends on what context you're using it. So depending on your context, you can use any one of the methods that are there. So let's say remove item from the set. If I'm using the remove method, similar to how it was for set. So for list, so it will be my set dot remove. You are specifying the element that you want to remove. So let's say tennis, and then you print my set. So if you are using the remove function, you will have to specify what element that you are removing. The same, it's very, discard also works in the same way. So if I have to remove elements using the discard method, all I have to do is my set dot discard. Let's say this, then So once I removed tennis, there were only two elements, cricket and football. Then I tried to remove football, so there's only one element left in my set, which is cricket. So it's printing only cricket. If I didn't have this, if I didn't have these two, then they could have printed cricket and tennis. So we're running it in two loops. Okay, the third way of doing it is using the pop function. Pop function, what it does is here you don't have to specify any arguments unlike in list, but when you're using pop function for a set, what it does is it removes the last element that is there inside the list. But what you have to keep in mind is set. What you have to keep in mind when it comes to set is it is not ordered. So you don't know what is the last element that is there. So when you use a pop function, it is going to remove the last element, but you're unsure which is that last element that it is going to remove. So that is something that you have to keep in mind when you're using the pop function for sets. Here you can't specify which element to remove, you can only remove the last element. That last element can be dependent on the order in which the set is done. So now if I have to use pop, all I have to do is my set dot pop. And if I print my set now, so it's removed according to the list. I mean, how it was printing. It printed cricket, tennis, and football. And the last element here was football. So it's removed a football from my set. If you want to know what is the last element that is there, all you have to do is assign this to some variable. Let's say x. Print x also, print my set also. So you know what is the element that is being removed and what is the elements that are left in that list. So this time when I ran it, the order in which it was printing those elements was football, cricket and tennis. Tennis was the last element that was there. So it popped that element, but we assigned that to a new variable x. So it's printing x. X is basically the last element. So tennis is the last element. The other two elements in the set are football and cricket. Is removing items from a set clear to all of you? There are three ways of doing it. There is a remove method, a discard method, and a pop method. The remove method removes, when you're using both the remove and the discard method, you have to specify which element you want to remove from that set. If you are using the pop method to remove elements in a particular set, pop removes the last element that is there in that set. Because it is unordered, you don't have an idea which is going to be the last element in that set. So if in case you want to know what is at the last set, all you have to do is assign a variable, print the variable and the list together. Is it clear? Let's say I try to, there's another difference, small difference between remove and discard is when there is, let's say I am searching for I'm trying to remove an element which is not part of the set. Okay, so badminton is not part of my set. If I try to remove this will most definitely give me an error. So remove is going to give me an error when I'm trying to, if I give it an option where it is not already present in that list, it's going to give me an error saying it doesn't exist, right? But that is not the case with discard. Discard is not going to give me an error. So it's not going to do anything about it. If the element is not present, it's still going to print whatever is existing. But that is not the case with remove. If I give it an option which is not existing in that particular set, it is going to give me an error. The key error that was there. With discard, if that element is not present in that list, it will not do anything about it. It will still print the set as it is. So that's another difference between remove and discard. But for both of them, you have to specify the element that you want to remove from that particular set. Pop, you don't have to specify the element. It will remove the last element. Which is that last element? You can assign it to a variable and get to know. So that is about removing elements from a set. And then there is the clear function wherein you can remove all the elements in a particular set. The set exists but elements are removed. So you can do that here. If I say my set dot clear, it's going to remove all the elements that are there in my set, but the set still exists. Then there is a set dot clear. Okay, and one more thing, technically why remove gives an error and discard doesn't give an error, I'm not very sure of it, but I'll still let you know why it works like that. Right now I'm just listing out differences between those two. I'll get back to you on why it exactly functions like that. Another thing, if you want to remove the set completely, all you have to do is the del function. So that is my set, then I give it a print. It's going to give me an error because there's nothing for it to print. Clear just removes the elements in that particular set. Delete can be used to remove the entire set completely. Let's say my set giving an error because my set doesn't exist. Okay. The next thing that we'll move on to is joining two sets. Remember how two sets can be joined? Okay. Joining two sets, basically there are two ways of doing it. One is using an union method, the other one is using an update method. Update you've already seen, right? Union is basically what, if you have two sets, when you're using a union set, it is going to generate a third set wherein it has the combination of both the set 1 and set 2. So let's say I have my set 1 as this. My set 2 so if I'm using union function, then I'll have to create a third set which will have all the elements of both set 1 and set 2. call it my set 3 equals to my set 1 dot uni and then you print the my set 3. So you have tennis, cricket, football, and 1, 2, 3. Order not in our control, so but it's still printing all the 6 elements that are there in both the sets. Now if I have to use the update function for it, can you tell me what can happen? Okay, what update does is you don't need a third set when you're using the update function. All you have to do is update tries to insert all the elements that are there in set 2 to set 1. So you don't really need another third set wherein you're combining both the elements in combining the elements in both the sets. When you're using an update function to join two sets, all it does is it tries to add elements from one set to another existing set. So let's say I want to add elements of my set 2 to set 1. So what do is my set 1 dot update. What am I updating it with? The elements of my set 2. Then I have to print my set 2. Update is adding the elements that are there in my set 2 to set 1. So now if I just print my set 1, it will have all the 6 elements. So all 6 elements are present. Elements from set 2 were added to set 1. This is about the maximum functionalities that we need about set. There are a few other functions and things. We can make a list of it, but they're not, we can just have a list of it. These are the 4 functions that I wanted to tell. So far is everything about set clear, creation of sets, accessing items. You can't access them because they are unordered, but you can loop through a set. You can check whether a particular element exists or not inside a set. You can't change items in a set, but you can add items to a particular set. Adding, if you're adding just one element to the set, you can go with the add function. If you're adding multiple elements to a set, then you can go with the update function. Len is used for checking the length of that particular set. Then when it comes to removing items from a set, there are 3 ways of doing it. One is with the remove function, the other is with the discard function, and the third method is using the pop function. Remove and discard needs you to specify which is the element that you are removing from that particular set. So if that particular element is not already present, if it's not present in the set, remove is going to give you back a key error, but discard is simply going to ignore the fact that it didn't find it and still print whatever are the remaining elements of that set. When you use the pop function to remove the elements in a particular set, what it does is it removes the last element in that list. Last element in that set. So since you don't have control of the order, you don't know what is that last element. So you can use the pop function, try to equate it to a variable, and then print that variable to know which is the last element that was there in that set and which got removed. then you can use the clear function to remove the elements in a particular set. The set still remains in existence, but there are no elements to that set when you use the clear function. You can use the del function to remove the set entirely. So when you use the del function on a particular list, it is going to remove that set. So when you use a print to print that set later, it's going to give you an error because that set doesn't exist anymore. Then the last functionality that we talked about was joining two sets. There are two ways of doing it. Is one with the union function, the other with the update function. What union does is you need a third set wherein union is going to merge all the elements in both the sets and put it into the third set. When you're using an update function for it, all it does is removes it takes elements from one set and adds it to already existing set. So if you're trying to merge two different sets with an update, you don't need another third set. All it does is remove elements from one set, add it to a different set. This is about sets. Is there any doubts or anything up until now? Yeah.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Shall we move on to dictionary? Okay. Okay. Lists, tuples, and sets. Sets are basically unordered and unchangeable, right? Dictionary is a little different from set because dictionary also is unordered, but dictionary is changeable and it can be indexed. Index here is using, okay, so what dictionary has is a key value pair. So there is a key and a value. You can always refer to the value based on this key elements that are there. So unlike the set, there is some sort of indexing wherein I'm trying to reach out the values using the key to that values. So, but still a dictionary also is unordered, same like set. Okay, and for example, let's start off with how do I write it is again with a curly bracket, but here I have a key and a value pair. So every element that I add into the particular dictionary will have one key portion and another value portion. So if I have to create a dictionary, let's say my curly brackets. Let's say we're taking model of a car or something like that, right? So I will have a key value pair here. So key, let's call it brand, and separator with colon and the value. So brand, what is the brand that you're going for? So let's say this is one element. Then I can use just give me 1 second. Okay. We're talking about going with something like a car. So let's say brand. Then there is model. That is my key. Let's say not. And then there is the year of manufacture, year of launch or something like that. Okay, so let's select it to be 2010. Let's do the dictionary. So there is brand, the model, and the year that is sent. So dictionaries always come with a key value pair. There is a key wherein you identify what is that element about, and then there is an actual value pair. So key and value. So there are three different key value pairs for this dictionary that I've created, and printing them is printing all the elements that are there in my dictionary. So that's about creation of a dictionary. How do I access elements in a dictionary? How do you access the values that are there in my dictionary? Again, because it provides some sort of indexing. Here, indexing is done based on the key that is there. So now if I want to print something about the element or the actual value, let's say Hyundai or Verna 2010, these are the actual values, right? How do I access them is based on the key that is associated with that particular value. So if I have to access, let's say, the value Hyundai, I need to access it through the key brand. So now if I have to do that, I will say let's say my dictionary. In square brackets, you got to specify the key that you are going to use to index a particular value. So let's assign it to a variable. So the value associated with model is Verna, so it's printing what is there. Okay, that's about access. Okay, you can also access these values that are there using a get method. So I can use this. So two ways of accessing values in a particular dictionary is either by using the key values that are there, by using an index of the key value, as in using key value as an index, or you can do it using the get method to access values of a particular element that is there inside a dictionary. How do I change values inside a dictionary? Again, because there is indexing allowed, indexing is done to the through the key values. All I have to do is select that key value and then assign the value that I want to change. So let's say I want to change the year. All I have to do here is my dictionary. The value that I want to change. So associated key is what I need to use. So let's say year is what I want to change. I want to change it from 2010 to 2018. So now let's print my dictionary. So it's changed the year from 2010 to 2018. Sets were not changeable at all. Tuples were not changeable. List was changeable. Again here dictionary is changeable. I can change values in a particular dictionary by indexing them through their key data. Okay. The next part, I'll finish looping through a dictionary and then we'll stop for the day. Then I'll continue in the next class. Okay. So next part of it is basically looping through a particular dictionary. So when you're trying to loop through a dictionary, if you use a general for loop saying X in a particular dictionary, what it will do is it will only return back your key values that are there for that particular dictionary. So when you're looping through a dictionary, you got to be specific what you want, what is the return that you're expecting. Is it the key values that you return to be expect to return, or is it the values that you want to be returned, or both the key and values that you there for a particular element in that list. So now if I have to just generate the key values that are there for a particular dictionary, all I have to do is use a for loop. So let's say I'm printing only the key values. Then all I have to do is a regular for loop of X in my dictionary. So it should only be printing the keys that are there for that particular element. So yeah, so it's printing brand, model and year. Now if I am specific, I want to print the values of a particular entry inside my dictionary, not the key values but the actual values for each of those keys. Then I have to use the values method. So how do I run that? Is my dictionary dot values. So now it's going to print only the values that are there in that particular dictionary. So it's printing the values which are Hyundai, Verna and 2010. Now if I want to print both the keys as well as the values, all I have to do is a small change here. So let's say x and y, and the function that you'll be using here will be called an items function. It's called the items function. So let's say x and y in my dictionary. The items function is what I will be using here. Print x and print y. Sorry, items. So it's printing both the key and the value. So brand Hyundai, model Gartner, year and 2010. So when you're trying to loop through a dictionary, you got to be specific what you want to be printed. Whether you want to print only the key values, whether only the values, or you want to print both the keys and the values for a particular entry into that dictionary. Is it clear so far?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. I basically have another class. So would you like we'll stop here and then continue on tomorrow's class? There's a little bit of dictionaries. The next thing we'll be dealing with is nested dictionaries and things like that. It will take a little time. So we'll do it in the next class. Is that okay with all of you?
Tomorrow's class.
Tomorrow, if you have a class tomorrow or whenever we have class. There is
Ma'am,
nothing
what
tomorrow.
about today's class?
You said you don't have anything else in the stretch. I mean, like, there is another 2:30 to 3:20 class. I can take that.
Yeah, are you taking?
No, somebody said you don't have anything else. So they asked me to continue, but then I have other classes now, so I won't be able to take in a full stretch. So if you want, I'll take the 2:30 to 3:20 class, or we'll shift directly to the next class that is there.
We'll go to next class. That is, I guess, Monday.
Hey, you don't have any other class tomorrow. I mean, on Friday.
Today. On Friday, we don't have your class, ma'am.
1 second. Uh, Friday there is nothing. Oh, okay.
You know what, ma'am, just take the 2:30 class.
I'll take the 2:30 class?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. We'll take the 2:30 class. Okay, then it should be fine. Then I'll take the 2:30 class. We'll just finish up the rest of the dictionary that way. Okay, if there's nothing else, all of you can leave. Thank you. I'll see you at 2:30.